Can you remember a time in your life, maybe you were really young, when you thought you were beautiful? You had no reason not to think you were beautiful, but then something happened. You picked up some negative programming along the way, and you made some conclusion about your body. For me, it was the kids at the bus stop telling me I was a weakling and threatening to beat me up. It was years of being called Skinny Bones Jones, Beanpole, or my least favorite, Twiggy. Wasn't Twiggy a girl? There was no denying that I was an unusually skinny kid. I mean, look at me, all legs and lots of nose. The nose knows, the kids used to say. If you turn sideways, they said, you'll disappear. So I did. I joined my high school yearbook, newspaper and TV, always behind the scenes, a sissy kid hiding in the darkroom. In a fag-hating, jock-loving high school, it gave me a safe place to avoid ever having to prove myself in ways that I simply couldn't, physically. Not only was I the classic 90-pound weakling, but later I came to realize that I was also gay. 2 significant hits on my masculinity, and I was either bound to spend the rest of my life on the therapist's couch or at the gym trying to regain my manhood. I remember each time after working out, I'd stand in front of the mirror to check for definition, as if those muscles were finally going to give me the entree that I wanted to a gay life I had never known. Hungry for inclusion in mainstream society, the gay community has been discovered by corporate America. Just as women have endured having their bodies packaged for consumption, the gay male body has become an ideal heralded high above the common man who tries desperately to attain it. And just like women, gay men have begun to exhibit the symptoms of being plucked, pumped, and packaged. Often already insecure about our masculinity and eager to fit in, gay men are an easy target for ad campaigns that show flesh. Lots and lots of flesh that keep us on the treadmill, putting in hours at the gym, running from carbs, and risking our lives with steroids to attain a glossy magazine body. But what goods do we really think that a gorgeous body are going to deliver?
More self-esteem, more looks, more like, oh wow, he's cute, and I mean more noticeable. So that's what muscles do for me. When I see muscles, I'm like, oh wow, look at that body.
It gets you attention, it gets you recognition, it gets you acceptance, which is probably all wrong, and it's not right, but you might as well play by the rules and fit in, I suppose.
Yeah, okay, I admit it, we're just playing by the complete rules of,
It's completely shallow.
It's shallow.
It definitely gives me more confidence when I go out. Make people, if people think you're attractive, then you obviously feel like you belong more. If people hit on you or talk to you or give you a look when you walk by.
Working out is something you do that when you don't work out, it's sort of like missing a meal. You know, you find that you have to go to the gym in order to be a certain way and fit into it becomes a part of your daily routine in a sense.
I feel like I fit in more to the gay community at large if I worked out. Since I've been working out, people now look at me that never would have looked at me 10 years ago.
I just got out of drug rehab 3 years ago, and at the age of 40 and decided I wanted to really, see what my body could do. So I got a trainer, work out 6-7 days a week. I've done a couple cycles of steroids under my doctor's supervision. And I'm HIV positive. I had an AIDS diagnosis in '91. I'm a long-term survivor. For some reason, I'm still here.
I definitely look the part of a fag to the straight community. Like when I walk down the street, there's no denying that I am a homosexual and everybody knows it. But in the fag world, and even especially in the fag advertising world, I've really noticed that I do not look the part of what fags look like. I don't dress in Abercrombie and Fitch. I don't dress that sort of GQ, every black boy next door. And I don't have muscles, and I'm too hairy, and I often have facial hair. And none of that fits into like the modern day, like the contemporary queer look.
It's been 25 years since those pictures of me shot at the beginning of this film, where I was an incredibly skinny kid. And I put on a little bit of weight, but really not all that much. In this film, we've asked people to show us their bodies and give us what's called a body tour, and show us what they like and don't like about their bodies. So I'm going to start with me. And what I like about my body is my giant hair right now. In the gay community where everybody's clipping and cutting, I'm refusing. So, and speaking of hair, I've got lots of it, and I won't cut my armpit hair like the guys at my gym, and I'm not going to nair off my stomach hair. I like it, and I am skinny, still skinny, and I have never gotten much of a chest. After all those years of working out, it just didn't do much. And I like my butt. It's kind of small, but good. And my shoulders, I don't like that my right shoulder hangs a little bit low because I have kind of a curve in my spine, and a lot of times I find myself trying to raise it up and say, hey, hi there, I have a nice straight spine, and I don't really. But I've made peace with my body and being skinny.
I had a colleague who had written a very good book about, gay male self-worth and self-esteem that had a very ordinary title, and it wasn't selling very well, and then his publisher changed it out for this image of this beautiful young man with his shirt off, and it started selling much better. But it was sort of an ethical conflict for him, because it's, this sells, but what is the message that we're sending in that? That, it's great to build gay self-esteem, but, you want to look like the guy in the cover of this book, and it's a real difficulty. There's an enormous amount of pressure to subscribe to that for all of us, I think, straight and gay men alike.
I've got skinny little legs, but, so is everybody. Look at these skinny little legs. But, it is the chicken leg syndrome.
My tits, they sag a little bit too much. They jiggle a little. There could be a little bit more muscle there,
I like chest. I think the upper part of a person's body is the most attractive part of it. See that? Nice and round. I would like to have an ass more like that. It's really important in the African American community to have a nice ass.
That longing to belong and a feeling of unacceptability can work together to create this obsession about the body. That if I'm beautiful enough, if I look a certain way, people will find me attractive, will find me desirable, and then I will finally fit in. I'll finally be enough. I'll finally belong.
It's only when I'm out in the world and you get people looking at you and you get people telling you that you're too hairy and you get people telling you that you got to put on some meat, man, you're going to disappear, and that stuff is sickening, and who needs to hear it, but you hear a lot of it.
We have never, ever, ever seen an African American, or a person of color for that matter, in an Abercrombie & Fitch ad. Me personally, I used to shop at Abercrombie, say about 7-8 years ago, until a friend of mine called to my attention that there was never a person of color in the ad, so we sort of started our own little personal campaign to stop getting people of color to shop at Abercrombie & Fitch.
I don't feel like I need to look a certain way, but I definitely see a lot of pressure on gay people, and especially Asians, because you're already marginalized as it is, and then if you don't have at least physical attractiveness to offer, people definitely don't want to interact with you or approach you or want to date you. Or
what do you feel like you're supposed to look like?
6 foot tall and blonde, lots of muscles.
And how tall are you?
About 5'3".
We, as a gay culture, which is already so complex, and even using the word gay is complex, and our multiplicity and our queerness and our homosexualities, still there is a dominant street like white gay male aesthetic, which then branches out, and places like Abercrombie completely exploit that. And you've got men of all races and of all classes thinking that they need to work out constantly.
Ads really piss me off, and queer as folk really pisses me off. I never see people who are slim with body hair. Slim people don't have body hair, I guess. And guys don't come as skinny as me unless they're 12. I often see girls in magazines and I think, oh my God, there's Twiggy, I look just like her.
There's even in the Pride magazine this month, or you know, there's a full-page ad for Nair for Men, which is like hair removal, which I think, I mean, that's not the image. I mean, you know, are we supposed to tailor ourselves to some sort of, you know, what advertisers say or what people see in model magazines?
The young straight men are as active as the young gay men, or even more, in trying to get their muscles a certain size and proportion, and being concerned about the size of their dick in a way that I don't think has ever happened quite to this level.
In your 40s, you're really considered old. And so I just celebrated my 50th birthday, so I have a double whammy that now I'm old and large, so I don't fit in either category. But I don't know if it made me feel inadequate, but just definitely impressed upon me that I wasn't part of that mainstream image that was supposed to be a gay thing.
It's the fact that I'm an older gay male in this community. And the fact that our bodies naturally do certain things as we get a little older. They start to sag a little, they start to fall into place. Hair comes out of places you never thought it would come out of. And this constant fight to keep hair out of your ears or keep, you know, just, I don't get it. And the fact that I've lost hair makes me less, makes my sexual currency less valuable. I don't get that.
My hair is thinning. It's something I've been kind of obsessed with for the last few years, and I've started doing apple cider vinegar and all kinds of other stuff that I put in it. I briefly considered Rogaine, but then I read the labels and I thought, I can't survive this.
I like my facial hair. I like my facial hair quite a bit, and I sometimes grow like little things. This is, you know, the bald man's answer to being bald is you grow facial hair and you change what it looks like, and that changes your look. That's as much as you can do, but I have lots of it, lots of facial hair. I like my bum. Contrary to what some people say, hair on bum is great.
I gained my first 10 pounds. I've had the same weight from the age of 18 to the age of 43, and I've just gained 10 pounds, which might look like nothing to you, but of course I freak out about it.
I've got my love handles, which are certainly there. But I was born with love handles, so I'm not that concerned about it. They're never going to go away, and Mom says they're lovely handles.
The harder you try, you know, to achieve this sense of worthiness through making your body beautiful, the farther away from it you seem to be. You know, there's no there. You're never good enough. And in fact, some of my clients who've had the worst struggles with body dysmorphic disorder have been men that, you know, have, by a lot of people's standards, by objective standards, you know, sort of billboard, you know, good looks. And yet there's this sense that there's something about them that is defective, you know, that makes them unacceptable or unlovable.
I really like what I am. I like what I look like. I just wish more people liked what I look like. I wish there were more room for people who looked like me in the world, and I didn't feel so freakish. And I do. I feel freakish.
When I came out of the closet at 17, One of the first pieces of advice I received from an older man was that I should join a gym, that I could be more sexy, that I could be liberated from my 90-pound weakling moniker. I've always had an ironing board chest, and I still do. Kids used to say I had the pirate's dream, a sunken chest. But on the advice of my older friend, I pumped iron, I swam, I did push-ups and bench presses, free weights and machines. I did this 3 to 5 times a week for about 18 years, until one night at the gym on a pec deck, one of my arms came out of socket. It finally occurred to me that I had exceeded the natural capacity of my frame. I had crossed over from being health conscious to being body obsessed. I was damaging myself in order to achieve a status quo gay body so that I would fit in and never be called a weakling again.
We often forget that we have the power to decide whether to buy into, all the advertising and media messages about the way our bodies are supposed to look.
I think that gay men are only going to get around, the conundrum of this whole looks obsession and that kind of mentality when we figure out a way to get beyond sexual consumerism. I mean, there's always a sexual marketplace, whether you're selling things literally like myself or not. I mean, people are not commodities. Even if in my case, the literal thing, because people will say, well, you're making yourself a commodity. No, I'm making myself someone who sells a certain type of experience. And there are many variations on that. That's the world we live in. So, but people haven't figured out yet. They're too stuck on it's a commodity, and therefore I'm entitled to get exactly what I want with a commodity. And that, I think, is what's just going to oppress the hell out of us and make us miserable.
What did Emily Dickinson say? Just to be born alive is so cheap a thing, all else adds ecstasy. Like, that's it. We're alive.
When we look at the imagery that has become widely accepted as the gay ideal, are we really seeing our community reflected in all of its diversity? Are these images healthy and empowering for young men who are just coming out? And is attaining this ideal really going to give us that sense of belonging that we crave? Or is it creating hysteria and more insecurity? You won't find guys with flat chests like mine or with hair coming out of their ears on the covers of glossy magazines destined for gay consumers. Today it's a prevailing message of exclusivity and oppression, just as it was 25 years ago. Only this time it doesn't want to beat me up at the bus stop, it just wants my business. It comes smiling at me now, rising up out of my coffee, towering above the fold at newsstands with that same message of, you don't belong. So I've had to ask myself, what is the difference between being called a weakling in those burning moments of my childhood and being left out of any major ad campaign penetrating the gay market? So what's the difference? This time, I know better.